thought. Thought is a subtle but potent force that rises within the mind, serving as both creator and observer. So the mind can be seen in the sense like an ocean, right? And thoughts in this ocean are like waves that rise and fall and rise and fall, right? So these waves are distinct in form, yet they're ultimately part of the ocean, right? If we take the ocean away, there's no more waves. So this illustrates the transient nature of our thoughts here. So despite the ceaseless flow of thoughts, or waves, the mind retains its intrinsic purity and stillness. So the deeper mystery here lies in what stirs these thoughts into motion and binds them into a cohesive whole. This is making sense. So it's the unifying commonality of consciousness, right? The eternal witness that stands apart from the fleeting play of the thought and the mind. And this consciousness is the substratum. It's the silent canvas upon which the drama of existence unfolds. And in meditation, when the mind's turbulence subsides, we can find glimpses of this profound unity here. So in this stillness of this unity, I think there lies the key in understanding the interconnectedness of all of creation. So the individual mind has its unique thoughts and perceptions, and it's a reflection of the universal mind. It's an expression of the infinite spirit that pervades all things. And this realization brings forth a sense of profound interconnectedness here. Just like the waves aren't separate from the ocean, we are not separate from the cosmos, right? We're the waves. So every thought and action reverberates through existence, and it influences all that is. This may take a bit of a leap, maybe not. So the perceived divisions between self and other, between thought and matter, right, are illusions obscuring the underlying unity present here. And living with this awareness transcends the limitations of the finite mind. It embraces the boundless nature of the infinite itself. And our true self here, it's not confined to these transient thoughts, but it's rooted in the eternal consciousness that binds all creation. And in this kind of realization, the dualities of pleasure, pain, success, failure, they become kind of like these minor disturbances on the surface of our being. And they are unable to affect the profound peace which is recognized within ourselves. And this inward journey through thought and mind leads to the discovery of our essential nature here. It reveals the oneness of all existence, a unifying commonality that transcends this apparent multiplicity. So in this oneness, this subjective oneness that we experience, we find our path home, our true home, and our kind of eternal refuge in the infinite expanse of consciousness that binds us all. So this existence, this interplay of thought and consciousness, right? It unfolds within ourselves in a manner that is both subtle and incredibly profound. And the mind is the instrument here of perception and cognition. It acts as the interface between the external world and our inner consciousness. And within this dynamic, we find the essence of our being. It lies beyond thought, beyond the mind, beyond these conceptions, beyond this conditioning, beyond experience. So at the core of our existence lies the self, right? Pure, unadulterated consciousness. Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. and this remains unaffected by the fluctuations of thought and emotion. And this kind of self, it's not an abstract concept here, but it's this direct experiential reality. It's the silent observer, right? Witnessing the continuous stream of mental activities without becoming entangled in them. And when we identify with this pure consciousness, we transcend the limitations of the mind and experience a state of unity with all existence. That's what's left, right? By transcending the mind, what is left is existence. And we experience this existence with beauty. So this process of realizing this inner existence, it begins with self-inquiry and mindfulness. So we observe our thoughts without attachment or judgment. We create a space between the observer and the observed. These are our first steps here. And this practice gradually reveals the impermanent nature of the thoughts and emotions, and it allows us to disidentify from them. It doesn't mean that we don't think they're precious or they hold value, but we disidentify. We see them. We watch them flow along like a stream. And as we continue to cultivate this kind of awareness, we become more attuned to the presence of the self, right? Capitalized, this self. The unchanging consciousness that underlies all experiences. Like in practical terms, this means integrating practices like meditation, contemplation, mindful living, right? Mantra, and we do this in our daily lives, in our daily routines. Meditation helps quiet the mind, makes it easier to perceive the stillness of this pure consciousness. Contemplation allows us to reflect upon the nature of our thoughts and their origins, and we foster this deeper understanding of the self. Right? So as we deepen our awareness here, we begin to see the interconnectedness of all life. We embody this interconnectedness. And the boundaries between the self and other, inner, outer, they dissolve and they reveal the fundamental unity of existence. And this realization transforms our interactions with the world. It has to. Right? We start to perceive every individual, every form of life, as an expression of the same consciousness that resides within ourselves. And this shift in perception fosters a sense of compassion, a sense of empathy, and this interconnectedness. It organically occurs. And understanding that this existence occurs within ourselves, it empowers us to take responsibility for our inner states. We recognize that the quality of our thoughts and emotions shapes our experience of reality. And by nurturing positive and constructive thoughts and cultivating a peaceful, centered mind, we contribute to the harmony and the balance of the larger world. This doesn't mean that we suppress or negate any kind of unhealthy tendencies or feelings that arise. All feelings are valid. How they're expressed, though, it's another thing. So in essence, this journey inward is a journey toward recognizing the divine within us. It's an exploration of the profound truth that our inner consciousness is the source and sustainer of all that we perceive. And by aligning ourselves with this inner reality, we find this sense of peace and fulfillment. But we also contribute to the greater harmony of the universe. So this is the path of self-realization, right? And the commonality of consciousness within ourselves, it's essential for providing this depth and meaning to the cosmos and existence. And we transcend the limited inputs of our senses here. So our sensory perceptions offer a fragmented view of reality, and they're filtered through the lens of our individual experiences, biases, and conditionings. So these are ideas that are greatly propounded by Swami Vivekananda. I highly suggest looking through the complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Advaita Vedanta, non-dual exploration of the self. Very, very good stuff. And he often talks about the vastness of this cosmos, right? It's with, infinite galaxy, stars, planets, like the sensory information that we receive about the universe through our sense organs, sight, sound, touch, right? It all reveals this spectacular but kind of a superficial understanding, though. It's limited. So the sensory data, is definitely awe-inspiring, right? But it's inherently limited. It's constrained by the capabilities of our physical senses and the instruments that we create. So to grasp the true essence of existence, we have to go beyond these sensory limitations and connect with the universal consciousness that binds everything together here. And this commonality of consciousness provides the depth and meaning that the senses alone can't really convey properly. It conveys a small portion of it, but we have to move beyond them. And it's through this deeper awareness here, moving beyond the senses and beyond the mind, that we recognize the interconnectedness of all phenomena. It's the intrinsic order and harmony of the cosmos, right? Like the stars, the planets, the galaxies. They're not just random clusters of matter, but they're expressions of the same fundamental consciousness that animates us. It reminds me of a quote by Sri Sri Nandamurti, which is, "You're never alone or helpless. The force that guides the stars guides you too." So when we perceive this unity here, the cosmos, it transforms from a collection of isolated objects into a living, breathing whole. So the wisdom traditions of the world, they've long emphasized the importance of this deeper perception. Like mystics, sages, philosophers, like they've all pointed to this underlying reality that transcends sensory experience. And we can't negate this information. This is profound stuff. It's, if we really want to understand this, we have to dig in. We have to start. And they speak of this inner vision, this direct knowing that arises when the mind is still and the heart is open, right? I think both are very important here. The mind being still and the heart being open. So this inner vision, it reveals the cosmos as a manifestation of a singular, boundless consciousness, providing a profound sense of purpose and meaning. And in our daily lives, this understanding can radically transform how we perceive and how we interact with the world. So instead of seeing ourselves as isolated individuals competing for limited resources, we begin to recognize our shared essence and common destiny, right? That's incredibly important. And this shift in perception fosters this compassion, cooperation, and a sense of collective responsibility for the well-being of all life. Obviously, this is an ideal. The fact is that we are currently violent, right? And to understand this violence and to move into this state of cooperation and this sense of collective responsibility for the well-being of all life, we have to explore and look at violence and understand what violence is. This is the only way out of violence. So this commonality here of this collective well-being, it provides a foundation for exploring the mysteries of existence with this greater depth and insight. So with science and spirituality, they're often seen as separate domains here, but they exist within the same existence. They're coexisting, right? We divide them based on prejudice and bias. So science has its empirical methods and explores the external world, and spirituality delves into the inner realms of consciousness itself. And together here, they offer a more comprehensive understanding of reality, and they enrich one another. Each one of them enriches each other here. And this quest for meaning is this universal human drive, right? It's through the recognition of our shared consciousness that we find the answers to these deep questions here. Like, why are we here? What's the purpose of life, right? These are important questions to ask. And they can't be fully answered by sensory data alone, by our sense organs. They require an intuitive grasp of the unity that underlies existence. And by tapping into this common consciousness, we access a wellspring of wisdom that provides clarity and direction here. So the commonality of consciousness is not just a philosophical concept, but it's a practical reality that enriches our understanding of the cosmos and our place within it. And it offers depth of meaning that transcends sensory perceptions, and it reveals the interconnectedness and purpose that pervade everything, all of existence. And if we embrace this commonality, it allows us to live more harmoniously, purposefully, compassionately, and in alignment with the true nature of the universe. And by true nature of the universe or cosmos, I mean that which exists beyond these prejudices and biases which we accumulate and which we function from in our daily lives. Have a wonderful day. Namaskar.